everyone. Welcome back to Life Learning. It's me, Christina Ballard, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how my term 3 went. Term 4 is actually about to start in about 2 days, so I'm super excited. I just want to share with you some of the classes that I took. I don't know if these are the classes that you'll be taking soon or that maybe you've already taken them. But if you haven't taken them yet, these are the classes that I'm going to be showing you guys today, which are right here. As you can see right here, this is one of the praxis tests that I took. I will be posting a video soon about my recommendation for taking the praxis test if you haven't already done so. So please don't forget to check out that video and get notified for when I post that video. So these are the classes that I took. Again, I took only 4 classes in this semester. This semester was crazy. I got sick again. I mean, it's just normal to get sick, it's one of those things. The weather changed, obviously, especially down here where I live. And the weather was changing quite often. Where I live, it's crazy. It's cold one minute and it can be all 4 seasons in one day. It's just crazy. Anyway, so I ended up getting sick, which is why I was only able to do 4 classes, but I also finished a lot of these classes. I tried to get it done pretty quickly so that I'd have time to study for the praxis test, and I did take one of them, so that was at least one of my goals. It took me like 3 weeks to this class right here, about 3 for this one, 4 to 5 for this one, and about 3 for the math. And then once I was finished, I had enough time to kind of study and get ready to take the praxis test. And I took the math and I passed. And again, I'll be posting that video soon about how I did that. But let's go ahead and take a look at this class. This is Managing Engaging Learning Environments. It's a mouthful, but it's D095. And right here, I just want to show you the page of how it kind of looks. So this course really talks about, setting routines, objectives, norms. Let's see. It talked about classroom management ideas, how to make the classroom safe and inviting, how to involve parents in the classroom, how to build classroom community, which I think is important. Lots of classroom management ideas and how to motivate students in learning. There is a pre-assessment. So at the bottom, you can see there's 3 tasks, and yes, I passed all of them, but there are 3 tasks that you will need to complete for this class. And I'll get to those in a second. Some resources that this class offers a welcome video. There are videos for each of the tasks, so that's great. And then there are some live cohort offerings that they kind of put out here for you guys. So real quick, some ideas that I have taken away from this class, because this is a pre-assessment class. There's not much I would recommend. Obviously, you can do all of the cohorts, you can watch the task videos. I definitely recommend using the course material, because even though you may be thinking, oh, it's just performance assessments, why do I need the course material? You will need it, especially for task 3, and I'll get to that in a second. But some things I have taken away from this class, some ideas that I plan to use in my own classroom is to saying our classroom versus my classroom, I think is very important because it builds that classroom community. I plan on using a welcome party before day 1, like in the very beginning, and give students a goodie bag, kind of welcome them to class. I think it's very important for students to see their classroom before the first day, and parents too, because this helps them to get involved as well. I plan to move the desks of students around a lot frequently, just to help them to get to know their peers. I think that's very important, and building on that classroom community as well. I'm going to have a peace corner or a peaceful corner. And I think this really stems from, mental health awareness and emotional stability in the classroom. There's lots of different ideas that you can look on, like Pinterest and things like that. But I kind of have my own ideas, and you'll be watching videos of doing things like that. So I feel like having that in the classroom is very important. Talking about growth mindset, again, having like a daily check-in for students. asking daily questions during like a morning meeting, um, and then letting them decide on the norms, I think is important because while you provide the expectations and the rules, allowing them to like build the norms creates a positive classroom environment. So the first task, I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm just going to kind of show you guys what it kind of looks like. So this is the first task. So it kind of loads here. So this is like all the requirements. In a nutshell, I'll just say that you have to describe what your future classroom would look like based on a certain grade level. You'll have to describe some instructional activities. You'll have to explain your personal philosophy as a classroom manager, and they get into all of that, so don't worry. You'll be describing some goals of what your classroom management plan will look like and what you'd like to implement in your classroom. And then you'll describe your classroom layout, and I highly recommend like giving them like a picture, include a picture. So I actually drew out my classroom layout, took a picture of it, set it to myself, and then like included in the task. And again, it's just for personalization because you may find many different classroom layouts, especially like on Pinterest or um, teacher websites. But honestly, you have to do what feels best for you because you'll be the classroom manager at this point. So I think it's just very important. Um, this is the rubric. Obviously, I'd strive for competent, but it's okay. You can still get some like red and yellow as long as you have the majority is competent. Um, but if you end up getting it back, just make sure that um, you try and get that green because and sometimes they'll provide feedback, not always, but if they bring it back to you and they want you to like revise it, they'll tell you why. All right, so if we go back here, I'm gonna edit this. Task 2 is all about strategies to actively engage students. And here's all the requirements. You're basically watching 3 videos for observation. You get to pick from like they'll give you a desired list. You have to describe the teacher's actions and the student's engagement in the video, and you'll also be evaluating each teacher's effectiveness in each of the videos. And then they're going to they're going to give you some scenarios that they want you to watch out for in that particular video. Again, that's why they give you a list that's based off of what they want you to see, but you do get to pick. But you have to describe your own strategies of how you would work that situation with that particular student. So they do give you, like for example, right here, an English learner, watch out for this one, or a student who is withdrawn, uninterested in lesson content. So you have to describe some strategies that you could use to, to work out that situation with that student. And then the last task, I actually like this task. A lot of people get nervous for this task, but I don't think you should be because if you've learned all the content and everything, you should be good to go. This is a immersion recording experience, so it's like you're teaching kind of like one-on-one, but it's a small group of students. They're going to give you a scenario. They're going to ask you to present a task to students. You will have to use some of the strategies that you learn because there are going to be 3 different students who have various needs. And then you'll also have to write a reflection. And they do record it for you and they'll send it back to you. My only notes would be to create an outline of what you plan to say and do and how you would address each of those students, because that's what really worked for me. And also to make sure your time doesn't go past like 10 minutes. Because I ran out of time, and what happened was I did really good and I passed and all that, but I ran out of time, and it just took me away, and it went back to the teacher who was at the end or in the beginning or whatever. So I didn't manage my time very well. So what I would advise to you is kind of practice before you do this. Time yourself, obviously, and create an outline because it really does help. And your reflections should be very simple and easy. You're just describing a problem that you might have had that you maybe need to prevent it next time. Mine was time management. Describe an interaction with some of the students. describe something that you might do differently next time with your interaction with students. So this is just, it's very simple. And again, you get that video back to you, so don't worry about recording it or anything. They give it back to you so that you can do your reflection. All right, and that is that class. I'm going to go back to my degree plan, and we're going to go to the biology class, C190. This class is a little bit heavy dense. I wouldn't say it's quite dense from the American civics class that I had to take, but this one's not too bad. I've had a lot of experience with biology. However, you may be different, so do what feels best for you. This class talked a lot about living organisms, classifications, characteristics, the chemical makeup of cells, the types of cells, biological functions, and lots of processes that happen in cells. So lots of stuff. I would say cells is a very big section. It was a very thick section. So they talked about genetics a lot. So, heredity, gene expression, patterns of inheritance, Punnett squares. I thought that was also interesting. And then you've got organisms and their environments. This really talked about climate change a lot and how to protect environments and why it's important. They also talked about people who conserve, they're called conservationists or environmentalists. So they talk about that as well. There is an objective assessment. So obviously I recommend looking at the pacing guide and going to their cohorts. I also recommend making lots of mind maps for your notes because visually it just helps you to summarize all of your stuff. Now, mind maps are great, but in-depth details and for in-depth concepts and vocab words, I think should be left to flashcards. So doing mind maps and flashcards definitely helps. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and some of the top 3 channels that I highly recommend is Bozeman Science, Crash Course, and Khan Academy. And that was really helpful for me. Obviously, use the pacing guide to kind of create your own, and doing all of the quizzes in the course material, and they have summary pages as well. So that's what I recommend for that class. If we go back to the 3rd class that I took, the American politics and U.S. Constitution. This basically is the version of American civics. Literally, it's that in a nutshell. This long title they give it, they should have just put American civics because that's basically what it is. C963. This class was very dense. It took me 4 to 5 weeks, and it took me a little longer than I had planned because I ended up getting sick around Christmas. And I took this class from October to March. So around Christmas, I was doing this class, and I ended up getting sick. So not fun, but I managed to finish this class, I think in like five weeks. I can't remember, but I think that's what it was. This class talked a lot about important documents, important people from like the Revolutionary War. It talked about famous philosophers and their ideas on government. You have to know some of these people. So pay attention to the names that they give you and what their philosophies were. They talked about how our government system kind of began, talked about structure of the government, the 3 branches, voting, how elections work, how campaigns work, different ways that people vote. Obviously, you've got political parties, so this is political participation. You've got civil liberties, civil rights. I highly recommend knowing all the 27 amendments and the articles of the Constitution. Articles of the Constitution aren't really required, but I think it's important for you to know this stuff because they will reference it. They won't directly say, "Oh, this article says this," but they'll kind of say something like that. They'll kind of like say, "Oh, the Constitution says this," but really it's an article. So I just recommend doing the articles too because I think it just really helps you to understand. They talk about public opinion and media was all about like misinformation, how the media plays a role. There are certain laws that they have to follow, and how it goes with all the Bill of Rights as well. You have to know the 27 amendments and you have to know the Bill of Rights, especially. Those are very important. I recommend doing a mind map for that because it'll help you. You can kind of like use a mind map to kind of like group certain amendments. So, for example, amendments that just talk about your freedoms, they're in a group right here, or amendments that really talk about civil rights is over here. So I just recommend doing a mind map for that because it'll really help you to organize your notes, I think. They talked about different movements: civil rights movement, Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter movement, feminist movement, and how the public opinion plays a role in like lawmaking and you know, things with the president and the judiciary system. So there is an objective assessment. It's 120 minutes. It's 60 questions. It's a little bit more than 56 of what classes are usually set up to be, because this is a more depth class. This is a very detailed class. Thankfully, though, they do give you a lot more resources than other classes can boast. For example, they give you a list of videos that you need to watch through each unit, and it's in the course material, and it's also in their announcements and their course tips. So that's very helpful. I highly recommend watching all those videos because when you learn like when you start to learn about how our government began, it'll like give you like videos to kind of watch to go along with that. And I just think that's just helpful to kind of summarize and helps you to understand what you're learning about. They give you a vocabulary list. Obviously, they give you cohorts, so I tend go to all of them, please. They give you a pacing guide and a study guide, and they also give you an action plan. I think it's in the course tips or announcements. It's one of those. But this will help you to organize your notes a little bit better. And it gives you like a checklist of what to complete for each section because there are a ton of sections in here. So that's really helpful. I highly recommend using all of their resources, watching many YouTube videos. I can't really give people off the top of my head, but there are lots of YouTube videos on civic stuff. So if you just type in a particular topic and say American civics to go along with it, you'll find a ton of videos. And that's why I just say just YouTube videos because it just really helps. And there's nobody in particular that really helped a lot more than others, I would say. I think they all helped tremendously. So definitely attend all the cohorts and talking with your mentor and instructor on this one, because this one's, as I said, a very heavy class that you may need a lot more time to work on. The last class that I took, this is Math Elementary Educators 3. I just call it Math 3 because it's easy, D127. This class talked a lot about geometry, so lines, planes, shapes, all their characteristics, transformations. So you've got things like translation, rotation, reflection. You've got congruence, similarity. You've got perimeter, area, surface area, and volume. I actually like that one a little bit more than I thought. You've got measurement, so you need to know the metric units of measure and the US units of measure. Statistics, this really talks about like mean, median, mode, range, standard deviation, types of charts and graphs, and when to use those particular data representation. You've got probability. Probability is mainly fundamental counting principle. Look it up. It's actually easier than it sounds. It's like when you have like 3 coats, 3 hats, 6 boots. How many different outfits can you make? And you multiply all those together. That's kind of what that is. But it's a little bit more. There's other ways to do that as well. But it's that principle. You've got combinations, permutations, and lots of other stuff. So like things like deck of cards. I found that a lot. I would definitely recommend using all their topic worksheets to just practice. Going to their live instructor support, because this really helps. When you go to their live instructor support thing, You can talk with someone about particular problems, or you're having questions about a topic, or you can take your pre-assessment and just want to talk about that. And they'll send you all the notes that they talked about with you, all the things that they did together with you. So that's great because then you can study again more on that particular area. They give you lots of study guides for notes, and they also have pre-recorded videos. So I recommend going to the cohorts and watching those videos. They give you a formula worksheet. You don't have to memorize any of the formulas because you will have it on the exam. However, not all formulas that they mention in the course material will be on the formula worksheet, but whatever's on the formula worksheet will be for you on your test. Let's see. I also recommend using handwritten flashcards because it's a math class and you really need to see step by step how to solve a problem, and color coding is also key here. So I highly recommend doing that. And just talking with your instructor and mentor again, I think is very helpful here. See, I'm trying to think if there's, oh, you know what? Let me show you something else. Let me go to the Math Center. I want to show you something that was just very helpful. So if you're at the Math Center, you can also attend an event for this math class. It's also very important that you can do that as well. We've got test taking strategies. So if you're a little worried and having math anxiety, that's helpful because I do have some stuff right here. But also what I think is very important, if you go to view our learning resources and you click go to EdReady, you click on this, I'm going to show you my account, but this really helped me to pass this math class. So let me just show you. I think it's this one. Yeah. Yeah. So see, in this one, it says BA Elementary Education Math Prep. Now, I actually had to find this for myself, but you can talk to your mentor about this. They'll probably send you a better link than I had to. I had to kind of find this for myself. But if you go back to their EdReady website, I think you're able to find what you're looking for. But what you want to look for is BA Elementary Education Math Prep, because if you didn't know about this already, here's D125, Math 1, Math 2, Math 3. And see, I practiced, I'll show you my study plan so you can kind of see. I practiced a lot of this stuff. I, practiced my geometry, my measurement. There was unit tests. You can click learn or test, and it's just a lot of extra practice to help you get ready for that objective assessment. I'm gonna go back to home right here. Go back. So the basic skills math test, that's like for your practice, you can use that. I don't know why it says 53 because I didn't even use it. I don't know. All right. Anyway, but you can use that for the practice math, definitely helpful. And this is the elementary content test math. Obviously for to be a teacher, you have to know some of the content areas. So this will help you for that. But if you did not really know, you can use some of this for like some of your classes to help you practice for the OA. And this was really helpful because some of the problems that I didn't think I needed help on, I actually did need help on, and it was just very beneficial for me. So I highly recommend going to the Success Center for this because that was just super helpful. So anyway, guys, this is the end of my Term 3 video. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with it with me throughout this whole video. I know it's quite lengthy, but I had a lot to say, and I hoped it really helped you for the next classes that you take. Again, thank you so much for watching, and see you guys later.